Coming to you live from the MediaPlex in downtown Windsor, this is a presentation of St. Clair College Journalism.
It's Friday. We're live. Welcome to MediaPlex Friday Live. First, the news. For our top story today, criminal charges have been upgraded in a district fire chief's death. The charges against Michael Hiller have moved to assault and manslaughter from assault and aggravated assault. Lakeshore District Fire Chief Joe St. Louis sustained injuries on March 24th when Hiller allegedly attacked him. St. Louis died April 3rd. Anyone with information is asked to contact Windsor Police Service or Crime Stoppers. With spring coming, a new year of fashion is on a number of Windsorites' minds. Kyle Rose has more.
A Surlery fashion show will be taking place on Thursday, April 26th in the Student Life Center. The auditions, which were open to all students with or without modeling experience, took place in the Ford building. Dee Dee Strzelik was the coordinator of the event and said the process on selecting the models is timely and in some cases stringent.
We did a call out, a tryout, so we had a bunch of models come in and we had them basically try out for the show. So we had them do a quick little runway walk to see if they sort of meet the criteria we're looking for. Then we took their measurements, all their contact information, and we also snapped their photo.
Doors open at 7 p.m. and tickets are $25 and can be purchased at the Fashion Design Lab in the Ford building on main campus and also online at www.eventbrite.ca. For MediaPlex News Radio, I'm Kyle Rose.
Let's go to Jordan Ferris with our sports report. Jordan?
Thank you, Matt. Yesterday was Jersey Day in support of the Humboldt Broncos. Everyone was dressed in jerseys of any kind to show their support for the victims of the crash. It was a nice thing to see, and would just like to let you know everyone at the MediaPlex supports Humboldt. And in lighter news, playoff fever is here. The NHL playoffs entered day 2 yesterday. The Washington Capitals were bested last night in overtime. Artemi Panarin broke the hearts of the Washington faithful when he lifted one over Philip Grubauer. With the win, the Columbus Blue Jackets delivered the first overtime goal of the playoffs. And speaking of firsts, Evander Kane played his first playoff game in his 9-year career last night. In Game 1 of the San Jose Sharks vs. Anaheim Ducks series, Kane showed the hockey world he's ready for playoffs. Kane scored 2 goals and had the game winner in San Jose's 3-0 win. Games tonight include Philadelphia vs. Pittsburgh, Los Angeles vs. Vegas, and the whiteout continues in Winnipeg as the Jets play host to Minnesota. That's all for your sports this morning. I'm Jordan Ferris. Now back to Matt Flood.
Now let's kick it over to the weather with Josie Richards.
Thanks, Matt. Today we have a high of 14 and a mix of sun and cloud. Saturday we have a high of 6 and rain, heavy at times, and Sunday a high of 10 and more rain. Clearly we're in for a rainy weekend. Environment Canada has issued a weather advisory for the Windsor-Essex region. Total rainfall may exceed 50 millimeters, so be sure to remember your umbrella if you're headed out. Back to you, Matt.
Dreams are coming true for a local high schooler. 21-year-old Dante Fortune, a Walkerville collegiate student, will be attending the Ellen Show in 2 weeks. Fortune is known across his school for being Ellen DeGeneres' biggest fan. Fortune, students, and teachers launched a social media campaign on April 3rd, hoping to get tickets. In a stroke of good fortune, he received his tickets and will be attending the show April 25th. Today, we'll be talking empowerment, local wildlife, improv comedy, and more this Friday Live. Ever have dinner with a good neighbor? Curlis Maddie reports.
In with the new and out with the old. After 5 years of service, the Willisted restaurant closes its doors and plans to reopen as Good Neighbor. The Willisted has been operating under this name since 2013, but starting on April 2nd, the doors were closed in preparation and renovation for the new restaurant. Co-owner of Good Neighbor, Mark Buscariel, said this rebranding is needed as the future of restaurants and neighborhood hubs continue to change and evolve.
There's enough changes going on here that it's going to be a completely new place. So then it was, well, what do we want to call it? And when we talked about what it is I look at brand identity. I look at the brands as you position yourself as what you think you are and also where you want to be. And what do we want to be in Walkerville neighborhood? We want to be the good neighbor. We want to be the place that people can come morning, noon, and night.
Along with the name change, the now Good Neighbor restaurant is also under renovations and menu revamps. From MediaPlex News, I'm Curlis Maddy.
While a name change can be empowering, Alyssa Horobin went out to see how a brunch can empower too.
The all-female class of St. Clair College's event management program planned a brunch to empower women in the community by bringing them together. Proceeds from the Pretty in the City event go toward a bigger building for the Welcome Center shelter for women and families. Strategic Partnerships Manager Kristen Douglas says the goal of the shelter is that no woman or family be left without a place to stay.
Nobody should be, worried about where they're going to stay every night. And so we just think there's no exceptions to that. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity.
The 6 students say this nonprofit organization in Windsor is close to their hearts. Essex MP Tracy Ramsey was one of the 3 guest speakers at the brunch and believes empowering women is especially important for the shelter's role in the community.
The women at the shelter are so special because they're empowering women when they're at their most vulnerable point in their lives. They really are, in a lot of ways, creating a new life for these women.
The class exceeded their fundraising goal of $5,000. For MediaPlex News, I'm Alyssa Horobin.
Ryan Jones got a chance to speak to an empowered young woman. She was in studio to give us 3 minutes with Mario Girlando, Miss Canada 2018.
Hi, this is Ryan Jones, and you're watching 3 Minutes with Maria Girlando, or Miss Canada 2018. So Maria, I'm going to get right into it. What interested you and what made you want to get into doing pageants?
So my interest for pageants started 2 years ago, and basically I just wanted to find a way to meet new friends. I don't really know how to do that anymore, and I saw an application for a pageant, and I thought, what a great opportunity, and it's been uphill ever since.
And so can you kind of explain your experience to me as Miss Tecumseh 2017, like how that went?
Yes, of course. So I was actually Miss Tecumseh 2016.
16, sorry.
That's okay. And I was an ambassador for the town of Tecumseh. So I got to go to various events throughout Windsor, Essex County and represent my town and just help out different organizations and different charities and really get myself out in the community.
So what motivated you and what pushed you to want to go further and apply for Miss Canada?
So basically Tecumseh wasn't big enough for me and I wanted to do bigger. I know I have great potential and there's still so much more good to be done in the world and I wanted to do this on a bigger scale. And lo and behold, the time came about when I had to give away my Miss Tecumseh crown and I thought Miss Canada would be a great opportunity.
So can you explain to me your journey as Miss Canada from the time you went to Quebec to the time you were titled Miss Canada? Like, what was that like for you?
It was very, very overwhelming in a great way because it was such a friendly competition that you normally don't see on TV. So get to really be behind the scenes and interact with girls from all over the country. It was an incredible learning experience about others and about myself. And I'm just so thankful that I got to go through this and ultimately that I was crowned Miss Canada.
And how did you feel when they called your name and you got the tiara placed on your head for the first time?
I was ecstatic, of course, first of all, but again, I was just so grateful. Any one of those girls could have carried on the title of Miss Canada, and for it to be my time, it is an extreme honor, and I'm going to do the best I can with it to make all those girls proud.
Now, I follow you on your social media, especially Instagram, and I see you're already getting involved with the community. Can you explain to people what you've already done as Miss Canada?
Absolutely. So I've had the opportunity to go to a couple different grade schools and speak to the children there. I've spoken to women's groups. I've got to read to the kids at their readathons. And basically what I want to do is really work closely with my platform of choice, which is the Optimist Club. We're a nonprofit that gives back to the community. And I hope to do more traveling with them in the near future. And overall, I just want to go into my community, volunteer, and teach people to be happy and be a good person.
Well, thank you, Maria. That's all the time we have left for today, but thank you so much for coming in. Your story is so interesting. This has been 3 Minutes with Maria Girlando.
While we now have a new representative for the nation, Mariam Farag takes a minute to tell us some of the best Canadian places to celebrate at.
Hello, everybody. Today I want to share with you the top 5 places to visit inside Canada. Number 1 is Quebec City. There is more to the province of Quebec than Montreal. Quebec City's Old Town offers cobblestone walkways and well-preserved 17th century architecture. Number 2 is Jasper and the Columbia Icefield. The Icefield Parkway connects Banff and Jasper. Stop along the way at the Columbia Icefield, which feeds into 8 glaciers. Number 3 are the Atlantic provinces. Newfoundland, Prince Edward Island, and Nova Scotia are great places to go explore, especially during the summer. Number 4 is Montreal. This beautiful city in Quebec offers people a look at the French side of the country. Beautiful streets, an underground mall, jazz clubs, and amazing cuisine makes this the hippest and the most romantic city in all the country. And last but not least is Vancouver. It's amazing how you can be downtown in a thriving metropolitan city and then 10 minutes later be hiking the mountains. Thank you for tuning in, and this has been your Travel Minute with Miriam Farag.
But maybe you want to go somewhere to see local birds. Amy Bao knows where to go.
National Wildlife Week is here. This week, the Jack Miller Migratory Bird Sanctuary is celebrating National Wildlife Week, and also the late Jack Miller's 153rd birthday. Community Engagement Coordinator Crystal Delbin were there with victors.
This event is our National Wildlife Week event, and it's held every year the week of Jack's birthday. So Jack's birthday is April 10th, 1865, and this week was established to commemorate his conservation efforts and his work with the geese. So with the geese and the birds and migratory waterfowl. So this is when that's why this week is here.
The Jack Miller Bird Sanctuary has been protecting birds for 114 years. The sanctuary protects injured birds that cannot fly and are not able to survive in the wild.
A lot of our birds here do have angel wing, meaning they can't fly and they will not be able to survive out in the wild. So we have this safe enclosure for them where they're free from predators and things like that. So we feed the birds daily, and they have the nice big pond there. We also have the pond out front that was built back in 2012. And so they're able to go there and they get fed out there as well.
Jack Miller National Wildlife Festival will go on for this whole week. For more information, check out jackmiller.ca and have fun with wild birds. I am Amy Bao for MediaPlex News Radio.
With the weather warming up, Ferris and Harris are going to get you in the active mood with Sports Talk.
Good morning and welcome to Sports Talk with Ferris and Harris. I'm Jordan Ferris.
And I'm Tay Harris.
All right, let's get her going. It's playoff time here, Tate. Playoffs, they've started. And last night, during a loss to the Boston Bruins, Toronto Maple Leafs' Nazem Kadri was given a 5-minute major and kicked out of the game after his hit on Tommy Wingel's head. Should Kadri be suspended, and for how long?
He definitely should be suspended. It was not a good hit at all. Direct head contact, left his feet. It was late. It was so unnecessary. The only problem is it's playoffs, so will he get a suspension? I would assume so.
It's
he
a bad.
That's
it's a very
bad
bad
hit. It's gross. It shouldn't even be in the game. I would say 3 playoff games is fair. We were talking to our friend Cody Wall there. He thinks maybe 2 or 1. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm on board with the 3. I definitely think 1 is too light, but I don't know. 3 seems like, because they could lose the series in 3 games, so that seems like a fair amount.
Yeah, definitely. And the Washington Capitals lost to the Columbus Blue Jackets in overtime. A story the Capitals have seen too many times in their playoffs where they outplay a team but lose the game. Jordan, should Cap fans be worried?
Yeah, I think they should. We see this scenario every year, right, where they're projected to go all the way, and then second round or something happens, and they collapse, and they need to get the goalie situation figured out. Like, I feel like why are you going with Grubauer over Holtby?
Well, he won a Memorial Cup here in Windsor.
Okay, Tate, but Holtby's always been your guy. Grubauer on that Panarin overtime goal, he was deep in his net. Like, that was a weird angle to get him from, maybe picture perfect shot, but I just think you gotta go with Holtby. Like, that, he's your guy.
Yeah, definitely. And just to get off sports a little bit, I want to congratulate Ryan Percy for cleaning up at the Journalism Awards last night. Great job, Ryan. You're a gold star in my heart. That's all for Sports Talk. Come back next week for your final Ferris and Harris of the year. Back to Matt Flood to flood us with more news. Matt?
Thank you, Tate and Jordan. Have you ever wanted to be the greatest of all time? If you didn't get your fill of sports, Todd Sheeran has some more football news for you.
It was a really cool day on Saturday at Alumni Field, and I'm not talking about the weather. But that didn't stop droves of future football players from Windsor from coming out and enjoying all the fun. Dallas Cowboy and Windsor native Tyrone Crawford returned home to host the 5th annual Windsor's Finest Football Academy at the University of Windsor's Alumni Field on Saturday.
It's definitely a blessing to have this platform and be able to, share it with the youth here in Windsor.
Luke Wilson, who recently signed with the Detroit Lions, took time out of his schedule to join Crawford and other professional football players, including DeMarcus Lawrence and Daryl Townsend, to work with the campers.
The amount of local Windsor talent that's out here at all different levels and ages, you know, Tyrone obviously cares about the community. He's got a passion to give back to this Windsor community, and that comes out here today.
Crawford's cousin, 7-year-old James Truax, had a lot of fun participating in the camp, specifically doing two things.
Playing games and sacking people.
Truax also aspires to someday play in the NFL for his favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys.
He's going to take my job. That's what I hope. I hope I'm retired by the time you come, because you might hit me over the head the way you're getting heavy, dude.
One of the main objectives has been to teach the campers to tackle bullying. This year was no different, also encouraging the campers to level up.
You know, we've done it with a lot of things in our lives. We constantly try and level up. We constantly try and, you know, get to the next level, and then that's what we're doing. You know, we're just trying to instill that into these kids, and I think we're doing a good job.
Among all the NFL and CFL players who were scheduled to participate in the camp, Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Des Bryant was unable to attend due to travel issues.
Have you ever wanted to be the greatest of all time? Kush Mendarata has some inspiration for you.
He would come to the gym, and if say he didn't get a ride to the gym, he didn't have no car, he would run. He would run across the causeway.
You don't know who it is, do you? Muhammad Ali is one of his kind. He is known to be the greatest boxer of all time. He is an inspiration to all of us. He has set a benchmark. We do watch movies to see our favorite superheroes, but we often miss out on those who are real-time heroes. In real life, we have seen people like Muhammad Ali struggling to be the greatest of all time. As his quote,
I am the greatest.
It wasn't just this. He was so confident that he said,
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
His self-talk was motivational. He told himself what he wanted to hear to be the person that we all aspire. We all have this negative self-talk going in our head. Guess what? There are already enough people saying we can't do good enough. Why do we want to say that negative self-talk to ourselves? You know what Muhammad Ali's self-talk was? I am the greatest. Our affirmation helps us to be the person we want to be. The self-talk can either build you to be the person you want to be, or destroy you completely. But the best part is, you choose what you tell yourself. You would be shocked with the results if you try this, but with the self-talk, you can achieve things you never thought you could. It is like being high and doing things that you never thought you would do. It's all in your head. It's all on you. No one's opinion about you makes you any lower, but it's your very own belief that can sink you to the failure. The next time you talk to yourself, make it positive. Make it motivational. I can do this. This is nothing. I have faced worse. And see how the situation changes. How the situation that scared you at first is now not even a problem.
I surely feel motivated. I'm not sure if Netflix has a documentary on Muhammad Ali, but I know that it does have a lot of great shows, and Josie Richards is going to tell us about this week's best flick on Netflix.
Welcome to the best flicks on Netflix with your host, Josie Richards. As we get closer to the weekend, I know you all want nothing more than to kick back and relax. And what's a better way to relax than by lying on the couch and binge watching Netflix? That's where I come in. I'll be giving you a weekly recommendation on what I think are the best flicks on Netflix to watch. This week's show is Peaky Blinders. It's in its 4th season on Netflix, with the 5th season set to debut next year. The show tells the tale of a family gang called the Peaky Blinders. Weird name, right? Apparently, the name stems from their weapons of choice, caps with razor blades sewn into the bands to slice at their enemies' faces, especially their eyes. The show takes place in Birmingham, England, and can be thought of as the English equivalent to the HBO hit show Boardwalk Empire. Time-wise, the show begins at the end of World War I and follows the gang's leader and the protagonist, Thomas Shelby, as his post-war ambition expands his family's illegal activities. The show is riddled with gangsters, double lives, cheating, thieving, lying, and get-rich-quick schemes. If your interest hasn't yet peaked for Peaky Blinders, here are 3 more reasons to tune in. 1. It's based on a real gang. It skillfully weaves historical fact with fictional elements. The whole series is loosely based on a real criminal gang known as the Peaky Blinders, who rose to prominence in Birmingham during the late 19th century. 2. The incredible actors. Ever heard of Cillian Murphy? Well, what about Tom Hardy, Adrian Brody, or Helen McCrory? These high-esteemed actors star in this show, making it a pleasure to watch. And finally, 3. It's cool. The show is so hardcore. It has good-looking people doing wicked things set to a banging soundtrack in a time that dared its inhabitants to dream big. And there you have it. Tune in to the best flicks on Netflix next week for another recommendation.
Don't have no self-respect. You feel like an insect. Well, don't you worry, buddy, 'cause
While some individuals enjoy television, Juliana Bonnet went to find out about those that prefer it live.
Second City's greatest minds threw away their script to battle wits before a live audience at the Chrysler Theater this past Saturday. The Second City Improv All-Star Comedy Show all began on a snowy Chicago night in December of 1959. The small cabaret theater they performed in grew to become the most influential comedian empire in the world. 6 comedians from the Toronto area traveled to Windsor to perform a complete improv in front of a live audience, and comedian Matt Follier could not be more excited for the experience.
So it's just very enjoyable to watch. It's sort of like a roller coaster ride in terms of comedy, because you never know what's going to happen. Even though roller coaster rides are much safer than the comedy we're doing, because you're strapped in and you know you're going to be safe. This, we don't know what's going to happen. You will be safe though. We're not going to do anything too crazy.
Second City will continue its tour throughout Canada, with most shows happening in the Toronto area. I'm Juliana Bonnet, and this is MediaPlex News Now.
It's been quite a while since the start of the show. Kylie Turner wants to remind you to drink some water.
Hi, I'm Kylie Turner, and in this week's Health Minute, I will be talking about the benefits of drinking water. According to Health Canada, water is important in life and a perfect way to quench your thirst. An adult human body averages around 65% water. It's important to keep up on drinking water throughout the day to avoid dehydration. Some benefits of drinking water include helping to maintain body temperature. It helps break down food to absorb nutrients. It helps get rid of waste in the body. Water works as a cushion between cells, muscles, and joints, and keeps your bowels functioning regularly. Our bodies lose water even just by breathing, sweating, and getting rid of waste. The amount of water you need every day depends on your age, gender, and activity level. You should drink more water in warm weather and when you are physically active. So make water your go-to beverage. Good alternatives to water are low-fat milk and unsweetened fortified soy beverages for staying hydrated. This has been your Health Minute. Cheers.
Now let's get into your wonderful and oh-so-weird news with our gold-winning producer, Xander Kelly.
Thanks, Matt. Here's the weird news. Reports of a tiger running amok in Manhattan turned out to be just a raccoon. The NYPD got a call about a rogue tiger in Harlem around 8:30 a.m. Thursday morning. It didn't take long before the boys in blue confirmed that it was not a tiger, but just a harmless little trash panda. Hey, they look pretty similar, right? Our nation's capital has a new slogan, Ottawa, technically beautiful. The Economic Development Corporation unveiled the slogan and associated plans on Monday. The corporation formed a group to figure out how to brand Ottawa to the world. The group considered 2 main perspectives, the high-tech world and tourism. In my opinion, it just sounds kind of awkward. Also in strangeness, Snoop Dogg just released a gospel album. No joke, it's called Bible of Love. Snoop Dogg has, in the past decade or so, identified as a Muslim, a Rastafarian, and now he's a born-again Christian and reportedly inspired by his grandmother. That's lovely. I personally haven't heard the album yet, but I welcome this new move in Snoop's career and see what he comes up with next. Speaking of Snoop Dogg, some schools in BC are taking a scheduled day off on 420. The day, frequently associated with being a holiday to celebrate marijuana use, was apparently not taken into consideration when the school boards in North Vancouver scheduled a day off. But with the day coming up, Principal Brad Baker encourages parents to have conversations at home regarding the use of cannabis and other substances, and includes a list of links to informative websites that can be used to begin the conversation about cannabis and other substances. That's all I got for today, so I'm just going to toss it over back to you, Matt Flood. Have a good one.
Well, thank you for tuning in. Friday Live is a presentation of St. Clair College Journalism. Our production team consists of Xander Kelly and Ryan Percy. This week we had contributions from Kyle Rose, Jordan Ferris, Tate Harris, Josie Richards, Curlis Maddie, Alyssa Horrobin, Xander Kelly, Ryan Jones, Marian Farag, Amy Bao, Todd Sheeran, Kush Menderata, Juliana Bonnet, and Kylie Turner. I'm Matt Flood. Have a great weekend.